King George. 23 Republicans out of 41 total House members would be needed to re-elect a Speaker. 23. Which leaves 18 Democrats to fend for themselves. Everyone had a new leadership strategy. The mathematics for the planned rebellion went like this. At the watering hole, the guru instructed during the next campaign, but before the election, we do our work in total secrecy. The guru speaking. I'll get a commitment from Democratic leadership by myself for after the November election to support whoever we nominate as Speaker. That would mean that 6 of us plus 18 of them equals 24, and we can pull it off. We can win Speaker without other establishment Republicans. You guys work on the new recruits who are coming to be elected to the House. I explained it to the Democrat leader Sherman Tribbett. It was freely given. Democrats could care less who the Republican Speaker was, and this was at the very least their chance to help elect a Speaker. A definite Democrat advantage, having friends in high places, even if it was a Republican. Sounds like a nice deal. The guru made them an offer they couldn't refuse. The strategy was kept secret. Therefore, only the guru would take the heat for this dangerous mission if it failed. Trading with the enemy before an election was an absolute no-no in the Republican establishment. Old Republican muckety-mucks considered this type activity the ultimate in treason. This insider trading business was worse than running in the face of the enemy. It was trading with the enemy. Smart politics, but very bad manners. After all, the czars and the contributors who had contributed significantly to the campaign coffers of all of us, young Turks, and our election campaigns, but at least they could tell us who they wanted to handpick for the Speaker. As the news leaked out, it was impossible to contain. The entire Republican establishment began mobilizing against the parking lot gang. After the November election, the original rebellious 6 mysteriously grew to 12. Other new Turks got elected. All were friends of Russ, and all managed in secret by our friend Mike Harkins. In fact, he was so good getting others elected, he got himself elected. We then solicited the other new Turks for their secret committee to overthrow the House, and we got it. Hoorah! So we had 6 old plus 6 new equal 12 out of 23. We win, we get our own Speaker. Easy. So now we had the 12 votes out of the 23 Republicans, which by my count leaves 11 on the other side, and they lose. The old Speaker would be swept out without the Democrat votes, and the guru's pre-election strategy worked. Newshawks festered and pestered. News leaks about the coup were rampant and hilarious. The establishment knocked off? Are you kidding? No way, not by 12 new kids on the block. You've got to be kidding. George III thrown out with a loud declaration of independence? No way. It was quite a news feast. The Republican establishment caucus would be called by the old Speaker's troops, who of course controlled the time, the place, and the circumstances of all caucuses, including the agenda, and accepting or not accepting proxies, and any nominations from the floor. He was the boss, and he still was the boss in these caucuses. So, all 12 new Turks had to be present at the caucus, and we had to be voting as unison, and we had to keep our strategy secret. So, 12 new Republicans could now take over the House without needing the Democrats' votes after all, but all 12 must be present and voting in the Republican organizing caucus or it wouldn't work. A simple majority of those present in any caucus can vote to accept written proxies, should any member be absent, like on vacation, a business trip, or some other important family reason. I knew there was a potential traitor among us. I knew one of our 12 was switching. I didn't know which one, but I knew one of them was. Every time we took a vote, it was different. Somebody had to be switching. Now, the old Republicans, they also had a counter strategy. They had a counter plan. A newly elected freshman representative named Bob Connor was the guy that was switching back and forth. They were giving him promises of support privately by the old, and he was speaking to both sides confidentially. We made no promises to anyone, including those on our side. And somebody on the other side was begging for him and offering him things. I heard it surreptitiously, and I started sweating. I knew I had to nail him down, but I could not figure out how. I couldn't go public with it. At the caucus, we planned to meet in the same room with all 12 of us after the election, and we would nail down his vote in public. However, the best laid plans of mice and men and all that often go awry. The week of the caucus that we called, George Jarvis's mother died. Funeral arrangements were made immediately in New York City, where George grew up. The parking lot gang had chosen George as our new House leader, and we had chosen the fundamentalist Christian Bill Frederick as our nominee for the new Speaker of the House. Suddenly, the old Speaker called a surprise organizational caucus the night before the wake, or actually the night of the wake, and the night before the funeral. The guru protested vehemently to party leaders. This isn't fair. The man's mother died. You can't hold an organizational caucus. There's a wake going on. He'll be at the wake. Knock off the bullshit, you assholes. If you're going to win, win fair and square. However, whoever accused Republicans of being fair. Of course, I leaked every detail of the possible switch without using the name to all the news hawks who crowded the bar outside the caucus room. They listened at the door. They peeked through the windows. They were looking for whoever would switch sides at the last minute. This was really hot stuff. Could 12 hang together, or will 11 hang separately? Everyone also knew that that 2 new members were missing. And they were missing the night of the caucus. One was on a legitimate vacation from the DuPont Company after a hard-won election for Cap Benson's old seat, and the other was at his mother's funeral in New York. That's 2. The vacation, of course, was approved by the company. It was planned for by the House member, and a written proxy was submitted to me as the guru, a handwritten statement of commitment on yellow-lined legal-sized paper. Is that long? You know what they look like. Mm-hmm. George just split for New York and disappeared. No proxy given, nothing on paper, nothing accounted for. So I would be showing up in the room with 11 actual votes and 1 in New York. Everyone could count that 11 was a simple majority in the caucus room for the first test vote, and we would lose. The old were also missing a member who was also a DuPonter, who was also on vacation, who had also submitted a written proxy. So they knew the proxies could be accepted by both sides, and if that happened, the score was tied 10-10. Every delay in every election works for the establishment, inviting a possible last-minute switch. At the meeting, first the doors were closed, and then locked. And then, speaking for the old guys, George III asked for the first and most important test vote. Let's vote to accept proxies. Oh my God, he'll switch just to look good. I rolled my eyes. I panicked. There would be time now for them to bend a few arms. Time now to imply new, more serious threats. There would be time now to convince upwardly mobile future candidates that they were the one that was right for a congressional seat, a governorship, a U.S. Senate seat, or maybe even president of the entire United States. That can't happen, I thought. Pete, you remember him, now newly elected to the U.S. Congress, he was outside. Will, his congressional campaign manager, that's a surprise, and other establishment Republican leaders were all hanging around the bar. Will was the county chairman now, so he was part of the establishment. He pretended not to be involved, but I knew which side he was on. When choosing sides between the old and the new, everyone knew what pure birthright meant. Private schools, private clubs, private business agreements, private conversations. Old party contributors and leaders also hovered around the bar to help fulfill the promises and help make their threats. It was a very dangerous time for one lonely warrior as a rebel. Ralph Moyet, a very friendly columnist, was also over near the bar, and he saw me exit the caucus room frowning. He later recalled that I had snaked quickly through the crowd, went into the men's room, and then after a few minutes returned, pushing through the same crowd, grinning from ear to ear. After the caucus broke up, Ralph asked, "What the fuck happened in there?" I was laughing so hard I had tears in my eyes. I never admitted that I was the guru. No one knew who was really in charge. But I related to him the entire scam. Here's how it went. Ralph, our guys were really disciplined. Beforehand, we agreed nobody talks but me. I answer all the questions. I ask all the questions. Nobody else on our side responds but me. Nobody else takes any heat afterwards but me. And if we lose, they can all switch to the other side and I will be the only one left hanging out. Get the picture? Ralph, sure, come on, little, cut out the bullshit. What do you think you are, a fucking guru?